Our next guest up here is going to come to us from the UK, from a specialty bank called Shawbrook, that gives very specialty services, and you can imagine the technology that goes with that has its own very unique requirements. So to talk a little bit more about him and his company's transition to a hybrid cloud environment from being more of a pure cloud provider shop, I've got Alan Harper joining us from Shawbrook Bank, Director of Corporate Technology. Come on up, Alan. So thank you for being here.
No,
a little bit more of a flight for you than for Mike.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
Not as good as Australia, but...
But you said you were out having a good time last night, too.
I was having a good time.
All right, so you're doing better than me. So can you share a little bit more about that migration I mentioned and kind of what drove you there?
Yeah, certainly. So I'm sure a lot of people have been in this situation where organizations were very cloud first. And then they started to receive the invoice from the cloud providers, and they quickly rethought that strategy. So as things progressed, we went from a 3-par with C7000 chassis, and we refreshed with ProLiant Gen 11s and Electra MP. And we went from 1.5 cabs down to half a cab. So we had straight away some great savings from a colo location. We get charged on power, and now we're able to reduce that further. In addition to that, it allowed us to develop what's called a hybrid multi-cloud strategy, or our hybrid multi-cloud strategy, and we've gone more of a cloud-sensible route, which means we can evaluate all of our workloads, and we are governed by 10 principles, some of them being around security, performance, cost, availability, but really data-centric focused and security focused.
Sure.
What we was able to do with the way that we worked with HPE and our partners, we're able to migrate our entire estate across 2 data centers from our old infrastructure to our new infrastructure within 3 months.
Wow, that's fast. So you mentioned security, you mentioned performance. Were there other benefits that you noticed?
Yeah, there was plenty of other benefits, but I'll just round up the first 3. We have to rebuild our data warehouse on every evening, and regularly that has to be available by 8 a.m. What was happening was we were really cutting it fine, rebuilding it every night to make sure we hit that deadline. Now that we've upgraded our hardware, we're able to actually just use the memory. We don't even write to disk straight away. It uses the memory, writes the data warehouse, and we're able to do that in 1 hour. So our data engineers are even more happy because they're able to sleep through the night now without being woken up to ensure that they can actually work on more important things the next day. The second thing that we was able to achieve because of the stability was we achieved our service level agreement. So we have a target of hitting 98% on a monthly basis of the data warehouse build, and we've hit 100% pretty much 11 out of 12 months. The one failure we did have wasn't due to compute, it was actually due to source data. So again, it's really improved the business's reaction, and they're able to modify and generate business for us because they have the data available to them. And thirdly, over the last 5 years, we've acquired 3 different companies, and that's come with its own challenges as well. As every company knows, data is its most important asset, and we've been able to onboard different companies, and the last company that we've been able to integrate, we've done within 3 months from start to finish, which is no mean feat when you take into account users, data, and their services.
Great, so speed and simplicity, and I caught that. I appreciate you letting us off the hook on that one piece of downtime. But what about surprises? Is there anything that kind of you weren't ready for?
So we already run a VDI environment on premise, and we use it for our third parties. What we wasn't expecting to use it for was for our own staff. Now, last year, there was a well-known software update that went out to a lot of machines and caused an issue. And that was a global issue. Whilst our server estate was unaffected, what we was able to do is transition the handful of users or the few hundred users that we had that were affected and spin them up a VDI within the case of around 30 minutes. and we were back with our workforce up and running and able to serve our customers and our business. So I had happy colleagues from my side being colleague focused. Our customers were happy because we was able to continue service them, and no one else knew that there was an issue going on within Shawbrook.
That's really great, and it feels like those kinds of disruptions are more and more common. So really happy to hear that it worked out so well for you all.
Well, we're all in IT. Things happen.
That's life, right?
Yeah.
No, appreciate you coming and sharing your story, Alan.